What is something shady going on in your neighborhood? House is rented out, but nobody lives there. Once a month or so, two really nice German sports cars with privacy tinting pull into the garage for a couple of hours and then leave. Every night at exactly 0:03, a badger runs across the garden walk opposite my house every damn time. My neighbors erected a massive flagpole, and each day they put a new flag up there. I can't for the life of me figure out why, but they're either bored or it's for nefarious purposes that I am not perceptive enough to figure out. Also, two kangaroos had a fight on my road last week. Wondering if they're somehow involved in the flag shenanigans. The city planted a ton of trees in my neighborhood. Now it's really shady. I live in a very suburban, American dream 1950s kind of neighborhood, and the sketchiest thing that goes down there is when my neighbor doesn't say hi back. Some kids are riding ATVs and dirt bikes in little packs on the streets. They're also riding in protected areas where off-roading is prohibited. The other day someone ran over a couple of people in one of these areas and killed them. Investigation is ongoing. So this all happened recently. Neighbor A and neighbor B live beside each other. Neighbor A plays music too loud one night, so neighbor B threw a brick through their window. Neighbor A then comes to the only logical conclusion out there and gets 10 of his friends together, goes to the local petrol station with a wheelie bin and fills it full of petrol. Proceeds to break the living room window, insert the bin full of petrol into said living room, and then throw a petrol bomb in to light it. Me and the lads were staging a poker night in my house across the street and watched it all go down. Edited, because people are coming to defense of a creepy guy, and I was not clear about how creepy this guy is. The obese, shirtless, middle-aged man that walks his dog in my neighborhood has now stopped to talk to my teenage daughter a couple of times when she is in the front yard. I had to tell her to come inside if she sees him, and last time he slowed down in front of my house, I stepped outside and told him to keep walking. I'm no backyard badass, but I needed him to know that he shouldn't be talking to a 15-year-old girl. Edited part. My daughter told me that he makes her uncomfortable and how he was commenting about what she was wearing. He only slowed down and crossed the street to talk to her, not when I am outside. In fact, when I am outside he goes the other way. He was not trying to make conversation because he's a nice person. He was being creepy and he made a teenage girl uncomfortable. Every night, exactly at midnight, I hear my neighbor calling his badger. All of the real estate agents sleep with each other's wives. Number suburb life. Drug dealers. A lot of them. My neighbor, mid-70s male, had a 19-year-old girl move in with him. He met her like twice at the bar. She was the bartender. The place closed down and she lost her apartment. I'm thinking she's taking advantage of him for his money. Ice cream truck comes through after dark, sometimes around midnight. I don't think they're selling just ice cream. Meth and more meth. The miles of woods around my house are filled with roving meth heads equipped with burglary tools. They also have little campsites where they live and set up shake and bake labs. Most, if not all, are wanted on warrants. They do sweeps down here occasionally to round all them up, but it's extremely hard because local law enforcement is seriously undermanned. On top of that, when they do arrest one of these people, the court immediately just lets them go and they come right back to the woods. They never show up for their court dates, so they just hang out in the woods with warrants until the process repeats itself. Our local court system is a joke. When they finally do pin one of them down, they never put them in jail, just give them probation. It's why they're so brazen. They know they will never actually go to jail for it. Edit. This is Tennessee for those asking. I'm pretty sure the owner of a takeaway near our house is selling drugs. The place has only a handful of customers every night, and it should have gone out of business a long time ago. Alas, it's still open, and all sort of shady people gather in front of it as closing time approaches. The other shady thing happened a few months ago. One night, a neighbor was rushed to the hospital. He is 70 or 75 years old and very overweight. Everybody, his family included, thought he had a heart attack. It turned out he tried to become a sugar daddy for a 25-year-old woman, but was too cheap and didn't give enough money, so he got his ass beaten up by some of her friends. A bunch of teenagers go around the neighborhood at 3 a.m. looking for open cars and stealing whatever they can. It's pretty silly. Garden competition, fighting, love triangles, stalking, sabotage, accusations, escalation, murder, speculation, trials, convictions. Hydrangeas. They roll around in their shallow backyard pond in the summertime like basking seals. It's a father and his 3 middle-aged children. I find it surprisingly hard to tell the difference between fireworks and gunshots. I'm fairly certain that the church down the street is actually a cult. I've never seen a Christian ceremony where they march down the street chanting every month like they do. Also, they are very inconsiderate, not giving those in the neighborhood any warning that they are going to be doing this. It has caused me to be late for work before, and I know they aren't pulling any permits to have their little parades. There's a lady that lives right across from an entrance to my neighborhood, and everyone in my neighborhood thinks she's batshit crazy because every afternoon she sits in her car in her driveway behind a giant electric fence, just waiting. And anything that comes near should expect a phone call to the police, along with "stay off my damn property." Even if no real threat was made. Apparently she's also had a poor history with the police herself. Probably attacked a kid at some point. Somebody leaves an empty can of Monster Energy drink in my front yard every once in a while. Several neighbors have shady chickens. Those little criminal bastards sometimes even come in my yard and eat my bugs and litter their eggs around. The family with 8,000 kids across from me has cars motorbikes pull up outside around the clock. He comes out to them and within a minute they go. Mr. Bad back next door, who apparently can't walk or stand, runs a business out of his garden selling concrete slabs and fence panels and sells cars illegally whilst claiming disability benefits. Keep in mind he laid his entire garden with said slabs last year by himself. Surrounded by slimy cunts. I don't think it's going on anymore. 2 of my neighbors are in a fight. I heard a rumor she once threw cake at him from her balcony. Once I caught him following her and looking where she went. Creepy. He has mental issues, but he calmed down when he got grandchildren. Now he just practices shooting in his backyard and goes around with a lamp at night. He cut down a perfect cherry tree because birds used to hang out there in the morning and chirp. The neighborhood I lived in when I was a child was full of hippies and eco-warrior type people, so you would frequently see shady but harmless stuff going on. But one day, one of the hippies had a German shepherd that came out of the forest with a decomposed human hand in his mouth. Police were called. Hippies avoid police like the plague unless there is a protest march, so it was a big deal, but they didn't really do anything, no searches or anything. This was many years ago, and corruption was common with the police. My friends and I had a theory that that forest was being used to dispose of certain people. There's some asshole who lives at the end of the street somewhere with a hot drug dealer car with all blacked out windows who keeps flying down the small residential road at blinding speeds, revving the engine and damn near killing some people. He knocked a mirror off a car the other day. We are positive it was him. None of us actually saw it, but heard the engine and the smash. Some of the guys may go down there with pitchforks soon. My boyfriend and I decided not to buy a car. We only use public transportation to move between places as we don't want to fuck the environment or contribute to the traffic jams. We live in a condo, so we have a 2 spaces parking lot that are part of the house. Our neighbors decided to use it without consulting to us as a public parking lot. It is very annoying because they just don't care enough to ask for permission. We don't use that space, but still we are paying for it as it is part of the house. We are very green, so are thinking on planting a tree in the middle of it. At the end of the day we can do whatever we want with our house, right? Fucking condo developers. There's a rumor going around that there has moved in an alien in the neighborhood, but I have no clue who that might be. The host sends letters to me to edge my sidewalk, but my neighbor's jungle is okay. It doesn't matter how many times I edge it. I just move, but I already have suspicions about the pigeon who nests above the porch. What are you up to, bird? Your chicks are fledged, so why are you still hanging around casing my house?